Alright, time for another draft physics video presentation. So we'll do comments, probably take about 6 or 7 or 10 videos, who knows. So let's understand where we are now. Basically, all of the experiments in Stephen Bro's new videos have been debunked. It's been pointed out where he committed a minor or major thought crime and made a mistake. Didn't get the physics right. So in all the experiments, he uses a gravity mechanism, okay, a pusher dependent on gravity that senses the object's mass and applies a force proportional to its mass, like gravity does. None of those experiments can push objects with the same force because they're all dependent on gravity measuring the weight of the object, essentially, and giving them disproportional amounts of energy based on those weights, blah, blah, blah. And the fact that gravity is a constant force that can't go any faster. So you can't make things go faster than the gravity force you're using, which defeats the purpose of attempting to measure different velocities. So, a big part of the reels of tape, no good, okay? Used gravity to push them. The experiment with the cart, one of the experiments, no good. He used the gravity mechanism to push them, no good. All right, the one with the spring, I have explained. I mean, there's different ways I could illustrate it, just to be sure that you should be able to figure this out a little bit. That let's just say I had an explosion. Okay, and I had two carts, and one was big and heavy, and one was little and light. You can sort of understand the stuff is coming off at the same speed at both things, very fast. It's hitting it, it's going to impart momentum. Now, I would argue that the way that happens has to do with the atomic structure, blah, 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 and essentially what happens is energy goes in, and if the object doesn't move, all of it has to move or none of it moves. It can't break the object into little pieces. Now, sometimes it can, right? Explosions especially, but we're really talking about forces not quite as violent. So the chemical bonds between the atoms are very strong, so they're not going to give up very easily. So the idea is you have to move the whole thing or you don't move it, and you just end up pushing the electrons out. Okay, kind of like just, you create a charge even kind of effect. And then they don't stay out, okay? They go back, and when they go back, they create a reflection inside the object. And the same thing happens here. There's obviously not enough energy to move the object because it didn't have enough energy going this way, so it certainly won't have enough energy going this way. So it reflects back. And the hope is this reflection will match new energy that's going in, and then finally it'll have enough energy to move the whole object. And so once the object's moving, you can just sort of understand that this object's going to move slow, this object's going to move fast. The faster object, you can sort of understand, isn't going to stay in the range of the explosion as long as the slow object. The slow object's going to get more energy because it's going to keep getting hit. Fast object's moving away. And the same is true for the idea of attaching springs to things. If you attach the spring to the object and the object starts moving away from a wall, let's say, you can sort of understand that as the object moves, it's unraveling the spring. It's actually stretching the spring, which means whatever energy or tension it has, you're relieving the tension. You're destroying the energy by moving, by stretching the spring. So the very act of starting to move it causes the spring to lose energy because you're essentially pulling on the spring. Okay, the spring that you want to push you, you're pulling on it, and therefore you're not going to be able to get the same amount of energy. So if the spring, it does make a difference. Is the simple argument is that apparently no physicist knows this either, which is really kind of funny, because see, Professor Lewin thinks I'm just making it an elastic collision. No, you're creating a mechanism that is deceiving, that's creating a mess out of the whole experiment. So in the Professor Lewin one, that's so curious, he actually has a spring on both carts. Okay, so that's making it, So the funny part is one spring is actually causing the reflection this way, and one spring is causing the absence of energy. I mean, the excessive amount of energy going the other way. But anyway, we'll get into that some other time when we analyze that experiment again. Anyway, but you can get the basic idea that if the spring is attached to the wall, this thing can't pull on it, right? So there's no pull on the spring, right? The moving object can't pull on the spring. You get it? So it's a big difference whether it's attached here or it's attached here. And it's just funny that I have never seen a mechanics video that describes this phenomenon of how it makes a difference what surface you attach a spring to. And the fact is it does. And it does for a perfectly rational reason. This side's moving very slowly. This side's moving very fast. Obviously, this side is escaping the energy. This side is not. So, all of his experiments are essentially junk. They're way incomplete at minimum and deceptive at the worst. All right, anyway, so comments. So there was one comment by some iron guy on my video. I left it for 2 days, but I've deleted it because it was just some mushy thing, like he's trying to say it wasn't a lever, it wasn't this, so it's all speculation about stuff that's already been resolved, in the sense that I've already seen now how Stephen was pushing the objects. You have to go searching for it. Okay. He never fully explains whatever the mechanism is that's causing the cart to move. But you do see the real pusher, and it's obviously gravity fed. Okay, anyway. So Steve Godfrey, this is a guy who actually is now posting what are known to be spoofed, or however, let's not call it hacking, but videos that, private videos that weren't technically private. See, a lot of us don't make our private videos private. We just make them unlisted. And the fact is, if somebody squirrels the leak out, if somebody leaks the link, then anybody could see the video. Okay? But most of us know the one person I sent it to isn't going to do that, so it doesn't matter. So through a little spoofing, okay, of my server, he got access to a few private videos, and he's downloaded them and reposted them. So this is his ethics. He doesn't have any qualms about property essentially stolen, private videos, okay, that everybody would assume have some integrity as private videos. He knows it's stolen property, is the point. So he knows this didn't happen because somebody published the information on purpose. So he knows that, and he doesn't care. I mean, what a despicable piece of shit. And this is pretty much the definition of the pyrrho supporter. Human garbage. Okay, what did Hillary call people? Disreputables or something? No, these are pieces of shit. Okay, human garbage. So be proud, Pyrrho. You have a bunch of fans who are just human garbage. Yeah. Way to go. Okay, now, and then he types this crap that who the fuck could understand this? So it's incomprehensible. T/F. I don't know. My system is the better alternative. Whatever that is. And if you try to comprehend it, you're undermining your own argument. This sums up the whole debacle. No, what sums up the whole debacle is they have zero evidence for their theories. Zero. They don't have any physical evidence. They can't even use the 1727 clay experiments anymore because they changed the formula by 100%. So the only experiments they had that were on their side, they debunked in 1805 or whatever. And since then, they've produced not one single piece of experimental evidence showing kinetic energy in action, showing it being collected. They haven't shown us one piece of evidence that a 5-ton train, for example, going 10 miles an hour, could actually light twice as many light bulbs as a 10-ton train going 5 miles an hour. Not one single experiment showing us anything like that. That's the debacle. That assholes like you defend people promoting a physics that is less evidenced than the theory of Jesus. There's more evidence that Jesus existed than that kinetic energy exists. Kinetic energy is as bad as a Holy Ghost. Okay, there's really no evidence for the Holy Ghost, right? Well, there's really no evidence for kinetic energy. So let's go to this, because I have no idea what the fuck this stupid frickin' goddamn quote could possibly mean to anybody rational. So let's go see if it was rational.
The whole idea is like, it's incomprehensible, therefore my system is the better alternative. And if you try to comprehend it, well, you're undermining your own argument. And so I understand that. And this is more for...
So, nope, didn't gain much from it. So I think what he's saying is that I'm clearly arguing I have a model that works without any woo in it. Okay, no entanglement, no wave-particle duality, no superposition. I'm in it 4 places at once. I'm magical. No, oh, it's twice as bent by gravity, even though no other force in the history of forces was ever bent by another force. Yeah, it doesn't have a bunch of, paradoxes and nonsense in it. Right. And somehow, though, if you attempt to comprehend the simple formula that explains more, you're undermining the purpose, which is to stay a religious kook. That's the real purpose. See, I don't understand their real purpose, which is stay religiously stupid and ignorant. Oh, okay. It still doesn't. As a comment, this doesn't mean anything. I mean, it's so disconnected from anything meaningful as a statement. All right. So, Stephen Bro. What a asshole. Plus, he could sell the equipment again after he's done with it. There's no excuses, no real ones. So you're whining in your videos about how you financed my experiments, you did this and that. Well, there's no real excuse, but just sell all that crap you bought that I never told you to buy. So all that crap you bought over my protest. So let's understand, I actively protested against him buying crap. Actively, aggressively said, stop. What are you doing? I actively did this, okay? The liar won't say it, but that's what happened in physical fact. I have the videos. If I'm forced to publish them someday, okay, I'll go find them and publish them. I actively, aggressively inquired of him, are you fucking crazy? What are you doing? Buying all this crap. I didn't authorize any of this crap. So why can't this fucking petty lying sack of shit do exactly that and then quit complaining about how much it cost you? Because it shouldn't have cost you anything at all. Just resell all the crap you bought. If you can find somebody dumb enough to buy it at the price you paid for it, retard. I mean, what a fucking idiot. So I should waste my time buying broken crap to reconstruct a piece of shit to do an experiment I shouldn't have to do because you duplicitous hypocrites are saying you don't have to produce any evidence. I do. Well, I've already produced evidence good enough, which in the sense that I've shown the damn experiments performed by Professor Lewin and other physicists that don't say what you're saying. So that seems to be a piece of evidence you haven't challenged with a counter piece of evidence in any way whatsoever. And then you do your opus of shit science and do a bunch of experiments that just create noise because they're not done well enough. Exactly the fucking argument being made that the experiments should be done well. Not poorly, but well. People who know what they are doing should do the experiments, not amateur jackasses who have a way inflated, perception of their engineering skills. Oh. Anyway, pathetic lie after pathetic lie. Or buy it used from a high school. Yeah, you really think high schools do that, Pyrrho? So again, this is just the bullshit of a previous government employee that somehow they care about any making any money back or doing any of that crap. No, we know they just throw it on the street. Okay. I'm not done with your video. Yeah, that's right. It takes a while, doesn't it? But I see you did the experiment, and that alone is nail in the coffin. So there we go. I mean, there's no, what's the argument can be made? We've heard this nail in the coffin phrase. Feynman's used it. Lewin's used it. The guy at Yale used it for bullshit evidence. Okay, so this is just their typical bullshit. So he glances at a piece of shit experiment, okay, done by a crappy amateur. So any free willer, he'll believe in a flat earth as long as the flat earther makes the video, and disguises the truth enough, because he does stupid things in the experiment that he doesn't even explain. So he does an experiment and it makes everything look like it's a flat earth. So he probably falls for all of Ken Wheeler's horse shit, right? No, we know the answer is he only falls for the horse shit on his side. Yeah. That's how good a logician he is. He's a duplicitous, lying hypocrite. Okay? You have to have evidence. I don't. And when I do have evidence, it's to be absolute shit, and I'll call it nail in the coffin evidence, even though it's an absolute technical pile of shit. Yeah, you're a fair cop. That's why Holiday hated your fucking guts. Because you're a stinking, lying sack of shit. Okay. Stephen Bro. Schools can't give their old science equipment away on eBay. In the UK, anyway. I don't know. They can't give their old science equipment away on eBay. I didn't know they were giving it away. But anyway, loads of it isn't even used. Loads of it's been stashed in the cupboard since the 1960s. Well, the truth is, to give them some credit, I mean, Lewin was actually using some 1942 equipment in some of his demonstrations, so at least they didn't throw it out. Some of it is relisted for a year or 2 years, released. Yeah, well, that's the funny thing. They rent a lot of this stuff. So sometimes they just pay rental contracts to some corporation that comes in, every 5 years and dusts the stuff, and they pay a contract. That's like their computer technicians. They spend they'll get a contract for $150,000, and the technicians actually do about 53 hours worth of work a year, for the $150,000. So a few people want this stuff, but you would think Gary would want it. And so, again, I'm going to argue again. First off, I've already pointed out, I don't really have any space for this. I don't have, my circumstances changed, and currently I just don't have a bunch of recreational area to play in here. Okay, so I'm not the guy to do the experiment. As I pointed out, there's people that have this equipment already. And if everybody was honest and they said we all want the right answer, why wouldn't we all solicit some university to just do the experiments? They have the equipment, they have the technicians, they have the people to do it. Why don't we ask them to do it? But you don't want to agree to that. Okay, even if he bought it in secret. But why would I do with this in secret? I mean, he's just so insane. Oh, so I mean, I do nothing by preference in secret. I would actually live my life with a video camera on my head if it wasn't for the trolls, because see, the trolls will take advantage of all the other people in the image. See, anybody else who talks or says something, they'll go attack them and ruin, and try to scare them. So you can't do anything honest anymore because the trolls ruin the fun. Okay, anyway, but there's no argument that I would need to do something in secret, you petty little crazy fuck. I'm obviously sort of making the point that our lives are ludicrous, and the best Monty Python show you could almost put on TV is reality TV. If reality TV was actually reality TV and not a production of antics and let's find the craziest people ever and bang them into each other. If it wasn't just absolute bullshit, that show would suck so bad. Reality, okay? Everybody would watch because it's a train wreck. Everybody's reality is just a fucking train wreck, and you know it. Your life is a train wreck, and you fucking goddamn know it. So he could do tests without us knowing. So more of this thing, like I have any interest in that. You despicable, low-life hunk of shit. You have absolutely no evidence that I've done anything secret in my whole fucking life, you stupid, petty piece of lying shit. None. You have nothing to justify this asshole behavior of yours where you have a right to accuse me of this, you fucking adolescent dick-sucking piece of shit. How dare you keep lying about my character with zero evidence? You lying sack of shit. Oh, these people are so disgusting. I mean, really, are you going to force me to actually make videos where I just develop my own fake stories about your existence and just make up a whole bunch of fucking lies about you? You stupid lying sack of shit. God damn. Do I have to fight fire with fire, you liar? Oh, God. My house is overflowing with radar equipment especially. Well, why don't you sell it? And then you'll be in the green again. Okay, professional waveguides can be very expensive for microwave interference tests, but he needs so little of it anyway. And again, I already pointed out how it doesn't really get to the core of the experiment, frankly. I mean, having some mechanism that produces one frequency, isn't really a very good test instrument for the principle, idiot. Plus, you can make it out of kitchen foil. So this is just, there's really no point in going into this detail. Okay, it's tedious, but done it rather than by specific way. So he's complaining in another video about being exposed to microwaves because he's using this tinfoil method of his. And now in this video, he's saying, no, it's fine. Just go ahead. Go ahead, do your little amateur radar experiments because it doesn't matter if you get hit with a few, kilowatts worth of microwaves. There's an online guide for teachers how to build your own air track too. Yeah, it's really not that complicated. A piece of metal with holes in it. But again, why would I have to do any of this? And why should I do any of this when we already know the shit's already out there in the world? People already have access to it. Why should every individual get their own air track? Can't you understand how this is ridiculous? Oh. Dead easy to build it, just as reliable for short-term use. So if you could do this, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do the air track experiment then? Why did you build some rickety car of your own invention? Yeah, not sure if I have copied the entire link, but should be enough info to find the PDF, I mean. Very exciting. So, it wouldn't paste anyway for some reason, but there's is what I searched. So this is what he thinks is the rational approach, is build your own air track. Too pathetic. Probably made out of wood. Yeah, right. Okay. Anyway, just too stupid, right? I mean, just too stupid to think that, oh yes, in my basement I'm gonna machine a perfectly flat piece of metal, and put a bunch of little tiny holes in it, and to stick the reverse end of a vacuum cleaner into it and get air coming out at the right, not too much air in one place, the right amount of air. Yeah, please. All right, then pyrrho again. Okay. The advantage of getting the high school equipment is clearly calibration. So yes, he has a great deal of confidence in high school teachers. Okay, like the college professors haven't figured out that what end you stick the spring on makes a difference. But yeah, those high school teachers are great calibrators. You can check things like velocity and clips, and it's all pretty clear. I don't know what that means. True about government equipment, but they're still private high schools. So he really thinks this is a real practical market somewhere. The go get the high school for sale paper. I mean, I think obviously they'd be selling the stuff on eBay, wouldn't they? I mean, wouldn't they sell it in the most efficient way possible? Craigslist? Let's all do a Craigslist search and see maybe I can get one in California. If I want to walk to California. I'm sure there's used equipment, but he want to pay if he want to pay $2,000 to discuss physics, with a real physicist, with somebody who actually has some clout and credibility. And that would be for obvious reasons. I want to fight somebody who's rational, knows their physics, and can make a reasonable argument, and who isn't going to say something like, well, it's the 1.4 theory, when there is no 1.4 theory. Then why not start with a few $100 of proof? So again, it's my obligation. I've already started with 2 experiments I've shown that clearly don't illustrate any of your phenomenon existing. So why don't you challenge me by showing me a piece of evidence on your side? Show me one fucking experiment demonstrating your 1/2 mv squared is a real thing. You won't answer the questions, the thought experiments that you evade. So why don't you produce some evidence? Oh, that's right, none. Okay. And at least save $1,500. So again, just mixing 2 subjects. Obviously, my desire to show physics to be vacuous mush is not the same subject as producing evidence defending particular points of view on specific issues of whether there's a 1.4 theory. And again, the duplicity of your side saying, I don't have to prove the 1.4 theory, you have to disprove it. That's duplicity, overt, open duplicity. You're openly and aggressively a duplicitous putz for in this whole argument. Are you saying that you can credibly defend? If somebody else typed crap like this to you and said, I don't have to defend anything, I don't have to prove anything, you do, how exactly would you respond to that person? I would be just interested, just so I can, maybe you could understand if it was in your own weird vocabulary. So just reverse the circumstance where, you get to say, I don't have to prove anything, you do, okay? And then you're on the other side of that and you respond with what? What's your response to somebody who says that to you? You have to prove it, I don't. Yeah, well, how would you respond if that's the comment you got? Yeah. Hilarious. He'll just say something, we already did prove it. I'm just not going to show you the proof because it's a private video. It's just so ironic. Oh, this planet is just such a shithole. Okay. Oh, I entirely agree. The only reason I have to do everything on the cheap is so let's understand, he didn't do anything on the cheap. He bought these insane, frequency counters, who knows, a couple $100 each at least. He bought all kinds of like radar, diode, brass things that, who knows what he paid for this crap. I mean, he's certainly whining now enough about how much he paid, right? So he clearly spent pretty good money. And again, I'll point out, I clearly reacted rather aggressively saying, what the fuck are you doing, Steve? And he didn't pay any attention to that. Okay. It is because I have been handicapped in ways that Gary both denies and punishes me for. It's just a fucking lie. So you're not allowed to say, I think Asperger's is pretty much just the Peter Pan syndrome. You don't want to grow up and face reality. Everybody just wants to watch cartoons and eat potato chips and read comic books. Everybody wants to do that. Okay? It's not called Asperger's because you don't want to go to work. Nobody wants to go to work. Oh. Anyway, so have been poor all my life. See, just excuse making. But not lazy. So again, yes, as long as you're interested. See, that's not called a disease. Okay? Because you're not interested in the ways you can make money. I'm not interested particularly either. I don't want to sell vacations in Cancun or something, at 500, times the price. And I don't want to rip people off. I don't want to be in the sales business. And that's about all you can do to make money. I don't want to do commercials, okay? So yeah, I understand you not wanting to do the stuff that you can make money doing. But call it that. I don't want to disease. Don't pretend there's some brain malfunction. Come on. I'm not even going to read this shit. I mean, if you want to talk about these kind of subjects, then you should get what Farley gives me. Okay, every bit of your life should be scrutinized, and people should lie about it. So even though a judge says things like, "You've provided more evidence than I've ever seen provided in a trial before for your condition," he'll say something like, "Somehow my condition wasn't evidenced. That somehow it doesn't exist." So, but your lying troll friends, okay, can lie about my condition. So you shouldn't talk about your little Weasley problems, butt shit. And again, I have a perfect right in this country anyway to say something like, "I don't think Asperger's is real." Okay, this is just one of these things where people don't like the size of their feet, and so they say, I'm trapped in the wrong-footed body, and now I must have new feet, and you must pay for them, and you must console me and pet my head and tell me everything's okay because I'm trapped in a body with the wrong size feet. I mean, it's a little bit ridiculous. Okay, I mean, I have empathy for people who say life sucks and none of this is navigatable, and falling in love with women sucks. Falling in love with men sucks. I mean, there isn't too many good people to love, so I can understand why you're not finding happiness here on planet Earth. I understand why you think relationships aren't working out for you. But guess what? If they start working out for you, you're still going to be complaining, right? I mean, Bruce Jenner's still bitching, okay? So fuck this. Oh, there's no point. All right, so that's just too, this is not a physics discussion, shithead. Could you possibly try to stay on physics? All right. I think it's better to make the equipment in case you don't understand it otherwise. So again, this is just too silly. So physicists should really sit around and make the equipment. They shouldn't do physics and the theory and all that crap. They should grind their fingernails down. I mean, I think it's a huge liability, a huge deficit to, human progress, that some people like Newton actually had to waste time grinding lenses. I mean, Newton had money, so he was able to afford to have other people do most of that work, but he did have to spend a lot of time grinding lenses and, polishing crystals and doing, really mundane tasks to do his experiments. And that's a negative, not a positive. Okay. His lab equipment, HS lab equipment and other lab equipment is a shortcut. So I think he's saying this plastic crap you can buy from some shyster company. The one photon detecting device. It's only $5,000. And it's a complete lie. Yeah. And of course, some of it you simply need. Too hard to make. Oscilloscope. Well, obviously you can get those pretty cheap now. $26. I've seen the $26 oscilloscope actually works. It's scary. I mean, obviously it doesn't work very well, but the fact that it even works at all for $26 is amazing. It's interesting how some social anxieties work in a way. So what is this crap? This isn't anything to do with the fucking subjects. You assholes really think because I have an anxiety disorder, that's why I don't think photons are doing this. And I don't think there's anything called a bent space. No, the reason why I don't think those things are real is because they're so fucking silly as physical answers. Oh, God. You just want to punch these motherfuckers. I mean, it's so offensive that somehow my medical records should be online to be perused by these people who think I must satisfy their conditions. I cannot possibly. They are medical doctors and they know what all these syndromes are, and they've proven that vertigo is fake. No, it really isn't. Whatever. All right. Yeah, I found one strangely curious, dragged into pubs, kicking and screaming. So, this, what is this? Just no point. Okay, and then Steven says, yes, that's why I stopped making my own cathode ray tubes. So he's bitching about the radar experiment that he did, sympathetic to my cause, let's call it, where he didn't follow any of my direction, and where there really was no chance that he was producing 1,000 watts of radar. But anyway, he lies about that, and complains that I obligated him somehow when I never even asked him to do the experiments. Let's understand that I exposed him to microwaves, and here he's talking about making his own cathode ray tubes. I'm just pointing out that the X-rays you're going to get exposed to by making your own cathode ray tubes are going to do a lot more damage than 1,000 watts of microwaves. When my landlord complained about me having a glass blowing furnace in my living room. Kidding, of course. Anyway, so I don't know what that even means. But I did spend my days as an 11-year-old trying to make ribbon mics. Okay, well, this is all just so who the fuck could care off the subject. All right. Gary keeps asking where 1.41 comes from. Can you please explain to him how it comes from the kinetic energy formula? Yes, please explain that. Show me where somebody derived this square root of 2 as being how fast things react to a force. I mean, light things. Where is that? Okay. And the square root of 2, and see if it's possible for him to understand. You have to provide the answer in some sort of form that shows how there's a relationship. Where did somebody argue, okay, this point, that when you put something on a spring, if it's light, it only leaves with 1.4 the momentum? Where did somebody make that argument retard? Can you understand? No one, I haven't seen any physicist ever acknowledge that kinetic energy, that momentum is not conserved. They all say momentum is conserved. It means 1.4 thing doesn't happen. I'm asking you to show me some physics explanation where it shows that, oh, of course momentum is destroyed. It's the 1.4 thing. God damn. So vegan for leave, whatever this means. So I guess this will be just a waste of time. So I'll just click on it, see. I would like to discuss vegan physics with you. So this is pyrrho. Entertaining. Yes, they're just, oh, let's just play with the trolls. Oh, good idea. All right, and then J.P. Ritchie, who I'm having my doubts about, really. I mean, he left a comment on my video where I'm just like, what the fuck is this shit? This, again, isn't physics. It doesn't even mean anything. He's playing mediator between some kind of crap. So he says, just passing along the message that Steven said he would be willing to remove the music from the videos as a gesture of goodwill. The videos are 93% him just gratuitously lying about events that took place. Just gratuitous lies. The music is just him farting in the background. I mean, it's bad, but that's not my major complaint. My major complaint is the video is a disgusting, ragged pile of shit. Okay, he's actively searching for the original music-free vid files. Why? I've already watched his video. I'm not watching it again. It's a pile of shit. I've diagnosed his errors. Game done. Okay, until he counter-argues somehow and explains how that didn't happen. Then, he obviously used the wrong pushing force in most of the experiments, so they're all nullified as being anything useful. And the one experiment that has any value, I've already pointed out how, well, this might be the spring problem. Okay. The physics is just, so I responded. The physics is junk, the commentary is lies, the images are rude, and the music is noise. Dropping the videos in acid wouldn't be goodwill enough for me. The videos are just an obnoxious obstacle to getting to anything called the truth. He's just being double fat Ken Wheeler. I mean, it's like a double fat Oreo. He's just taking Ken Wheeler and let's double down on Ken Wheeler bullshit. Let's do bad experiments and talk shit. And that's all he did, is talk a bunch of shit and do shitty experiments. I don't need Stephen Bro reports. Yeah, let me just say that. I don't need Stephen Bro reports. Okay? I'm not interested in Stephen Bro reports. What'd Stephen Bro say today? Don't care. Wrong video. Where the hell is the pyrrho video? Yeah, there it is. All right. Okay. All right. So anyway, no offense, JPG guy. I wish you would just say you people are assholes to these people. I mean, why did you say to Stephen, why the fuck did you make a video that's just a poning video of another person and call it a physics video? I mean, why'd you do that? I mean, should his response really be to make an hour-and-a-half video where he just spends the entire time talking about what a little lying weasel you are? Yeah. Anyway, I made clear from the beginning that I was passing along questions from draft. Well, that's not being very clear. Are you passing along the questions because you just like to do that as a hobby? To pass along questions? I mean, do you think the questions should be answered? Do you think they're valid questions? That's the kind of thing you should have said, honestly. You should have honestly just said, I think they're interesting questions and I would like to hear the answers. But you couldn't even do that. No. But at no point did he ask me to pass along the questions. No, of course I didn't. It's sort of obvious. But anyway, I saw the questions lingering in the description section of his videos and realized he was not getting answers. Well, it's unfortunate you didn't see all the questions I posted on Quora and didn't get any answers either and got kicked off of the other place for asking the questions. So I presented them to you. I was under the, I thought, reasonable impression that you would be willing to answer because you've been answering similar questions from him for years now. No, he hasn't been answering any questions from me. That's the whole point. So you haven't even realized that. His answers are evasions. Constantly changes this. You ask him a question, how much does a rabbit weigh? And he starts talking about how fat platypuses are. If at any point you said, I'm not answering him, go away, I would respect that. But you've been answering and engaging in the discussion on physics until suddenly I became a bad guy and didn't demand answers. I asked. Okay, so whatever. So there's 26 replies to this stupid subject. So a person merely just passes along some questions, and I would, the assumption would be he thinks the questions mean something. Okay. So he's not just passing along because somebody asked, why is Y spelled WHY? No, he didn't bother passing that one along. No worries. Well, obviously you seem pretty upset, Pyrrho. You panicked enough to make this video. Oh, what an egregious crime. Somebody's asking me questions because I don't really want to talk to the guy who, really needs to have the questions answered, and he doesn't want to talk to me. I understand. I'm not saying you're a bad guy. Yeah, you did. You implied all kinds of crap about how he was a shitty human being. You did all of that. So it's just hilarious. I'm saying I don't want a back channel conversation. Well, what's back channel about it? He's clearly reporting to me and reporting to you and reporting. He's clearly doing the back. There's no back channeling. Okay. With Gary, I have been perfectly willing to have answered Gary's questions. In what form? I've been making videos. I don't know whether you noticed, but I got thousands of them now. And you haven't coherently responded to anything, you fucking lying sack of shit. So what's your problem? What's your hang up? I have videos with your fucking name right in them and you don't respond to them. What the fuck are you talking about? You're completely unresponsive to anything that you can't control. Any environment that you can't talk over somebody, you won't involve yourself in. Okay, so yes, I'm willing, but what is the point if he's going to be re- if he's going to be replying to my comments? So he thinks there's no point if he answers the question, but I don't comment on his crappy answer. I'm not supposed to comment on his crappy answer to the question? Well, anyway, I have offered a live discussion, and I have too. But without somebody to stop you from changing the subject, what is the point? Again, you just keep. I already showed some of the Skype conversation in the last video about it. There's nothing coherent. You're not on the subject. What about gasoline? What does gasoline have to do with a cue ball hitting a cue ball? It's like this subject isn't gasoline, you fucking idiot. Anyway. But instead he bitches about having to ask questions this way. What do you mean? I'm not bitching about anything, so there's another false accusation. I'm bitching that no one can answer the questions. Okay, no one has the integrity to be honest and admit, well, there are some problems created by this bullshit theory that was invented by a religious kook. And maybe we should fix those problems. Maybe we should go look for the right answer. What you stated, because what you stated became what it is, and it's not the style of engagement I want. So whatever that means. Right? Anyone understand what the fuck he's talking about in terms of the engagement? The engagement is I make an argument, you should make a counter argument. That doesn't take place. That's the part you won't engage in. I don't blame you, however, except you did. Okay, I think what you did was trying to facilitate a conversation. Well, you didn't think it before he just commented, which is good according to me. Well, obviously you just said it's not good according to you. It doesn't work for you. Oh, it's just that if it's a become a channel between me and Gary, what it for? What's it for? To get to the root of it. Obviously, we can't engage in conversation because you can't do it in any kind of respectful, civil manner. And you can't stay on the subject. So, yes, there's no point in that. But clearly, I can make arguments in videos and you can make arguments in videos. And then you could just play the part of the video where the person's making the argument and you could counter the argument. Now, I'd prefer you not, cut me to 10 seconds, let you quote mine the video for just one little sentence. But, you don't have to play the whole video. You can just play the part where I'm asking the question. And then you can answer it. But you haven't chosen to do that. Because you're a slimy, wormy, lying sack of shit. Okay, to make Gary feel safer while he... So this is more of his lying again. Complains why we need a middleman. Whatever that could mean. If he could talk about physics without making it about my deceased daughter. So he shouldn't even bring this up. Okay? Well, you couldn't talk about it without bringing up my anxiety disorder, retard. Isn't that exactly what happened, retard? Fucking retard? And again, the subject of your daughter isn't sacred territory because you, did bring it up in some sense. And you have to take some responsibility for it because it does parallel your reckless, stupid life. The fact is your stupid philosophy was the byproduct. Your daughter wasn't taken by, thieves. Okay, it wasn't some mass murderers who killed her. It was a lot of little murders that you keep defending in society. You defend the recklessness that was the end product of what happened to your daughter. And you can't even make that connection, honestly. Anyway, it's not a paradox or enigma, whatever this is. Gary gets what he wants, an answer to his ignorant questions. So again, he hasn't answered the questions, and they're clearly not ignorant questions. So again, it's just so desperate that he would call a question like, well, is there any evidence that a 10-ton train has less evidence than a 5-ton train going twice as fast? Is there any physical evidence of that? Yeah, That's not an ignorant question. That's exactly this kind of question a rational person who seeking truth would ask. Is there any evidence of Jesus? Is there any evidence for somebody walking on water? Is there any evidence for, resurrections? I mean, all that crap. Those are reasonable questions to ask. And then he shits all over it because in the end, all he has to learn is how wrong he is and why. So it's just more, I'm pyrrho, I'm right, ha ha ha. And then he'll degrade and talk about how stupid other people's arguments are when that's all he has as an argument. I'm pyrrho, I'm right, ha ha ha. That's all I have to do, right? And have a drink? Yeah. There. I win. It's a drinking game, right? I win by just saying, I win! Yeah, it's a drinking game. Fucking idiot. Alright, and also to JPG Ritchie. On a positive note for a change, I was pleasantly surprised by Gary's acceptance. See, this will be another lie. For now, at least, of the results of the 1.4 experiment. Yeah, obviously I didn't accept it. I accepted you did the experiment and I could on the surface see no flaw. So I'm obviously saying I have to think about it. And a little bit of thought, and then I saw that little dangling spring on the end of it, and oh, that's the catch. And so I have left what is intended to be a thank you message with extra details. Well, isn't that just so special? In the comments to that video. Oh, I'm sure everybody will read those comments after they watch the hour and a half of you just spewing fucking vile, lying crap. Oh, how brilliant of you. Despite the video clearly being titled insultingly towards Gary. The whole video is an insult. Yes, the entire whole fucking video is just lined in your obnoxious, gratuitous, lying insults. You stupid, ignorant fuck. Alright, wait. I'm just glad he was able to accept. So he's saying it again. See, this is how out of touch with reality he is. I clearly didn't accept the results. I clearly pointed out the results create a paradox. So obviously there's got to be something that has to be resolved. Something's wrong somewhere because if you're right, it's a paradox. And if you're right, Professor Lewin is a dim, stupid moron for not knowing this special 1.4 fact. Oh, what an idiot. For now. Yeah, for what? 15 minutes. Okay. I mean, I can't say exactly how long. Maybe it was 4 hours. Okay, I watched the video in the morning. I thought about it during the day. I even have some stuff written down on a piece of paper here. See, I have, different masses being moved by the springs. So this is what I was doing yesterday afternoon. I was thinking about the pendulum thing and how we could, yeah, it's not my ideal, but you can guarantee double the velocity, so it sort of works. And so, but this is the key part over here. And let's see if I can find the exact moment on this piece of paper where I said, oh, the spring's in the wrong place. Let's see. So see here, 1.4. I have it written down right there, 1.4. I'm trying to figure that out. This is all 1.4 math up here where I'm saying, because the Lewin experiment is 0.66. See, and that's really close to 0.7 and 1.4. So we're really close, right? So we're talking about a third of the momentum. It comes out to be about a third. So the Lewin experiment has a third, and your experiment has about a third. So it's all very close and related. So that's what I'm going through there. Let's see if I can just find the point where I said which side is the spring attached to. Should go faster if either side gets heavier. That's probably what this is probably my message to myself. I think this is just it. I have this spring with the two sides, and I'm saying what side you attach it to matters. And so that's where I stopped, because that was obviously the right answer. So I stopped writing because I said, that's it. The spring, it matters which side it's attached to. Oh, you can sort of see it right here, right? Yeah, see, I have the spring attached to this side, and then I have the spring attached to the other side. Yeah. So it's there. Anyway. Blah, 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 blah. Let's see. Okay, so anyway, it's just this guy is such an idiot. But anyway, if either of you are in any position to point Gary towards that comment, then that may speed up a resolution. There's no resolution, fuckface. Your experiments were a pile of shit. You should have never put them on if you already knew the gravity thing was horse shit. You know, as a device for pushing things different speeds. Apparently you did know that, and you posted that crap anyway. Fuck. All right. Not sure if you will get this message twice. On a positive note for change, I was pleasantly so he's saying it again. It's the same comment, I guess. Posted twice. How special. He did what now? Pyrrho says. Yeah, see, Pyrrho's not believing it. Yeah, no, I didn't accept anything. I watched his video and I couldn't immediately explain. Well, just as I didn't immediately explain what's wrong with Professor Lewin's video, okay? It's sitting right there, right? I mean, you people really don't do physics at all, do you? I mean, I played a Professor Lewin clip where clearly he caused more momentum to move in a direction. Something he put at 100 momentum in, and he got an object moving this way going 130. And he didn't do anything else. He just put 100 in, and he got 130 out. It's a pretty amazing experiment. I showed it to you. I played it, and I said, gee, how do we account for that? How does anybody account for that? Because isn't that free energy? Doesn't it mean I just have to keep putting bigger and bigger objects in a row, and I'll just go 130, 170, 228, 300? I'll just create a cycle of more momentum. So did I say, oh, I perfectly accept that experiment as being perfectly real? No, I said this is curious because it doesn't add up. It doesn't fit with the physical universe. And that's what I'm saying about this 1.4 thing. Okay, Steve, you got the result. But again, why did you get it? Too stupid. All right, so Stephen says, unless I imagined it, and I'm sure I didn't, Gary seemed quite agreeable to accepting of the conclusion of the 1.4 experiment. Nah, that didn't happen. So yes, you completely misinterpreted my reaction, which was not, oh, Stephen Bro's done it. Again, you don't even understand the context of what you've done. If you're right, and this 1.4 thing was a real event that actually happened every time with springs, you're saying that for hundreds of years, no physicist was smart enough to figure it out? Because you have zero evidence any other physicist is using the 1.4 theory. There's no evidence. Don't you understand? I'm sitting here pleading with all the trolls and you to produce one piece of documentation accounting for the existence of this theory. You don't have a single paper. You don't have a single video on YouTube explaining the 1.41 theory. Do you understand how miraculous that is? You're proving something that not one single other person ever observed by doing a shit experiment, and you showed it. You don't understand how miraculous that would be? It's just amazing. I'm just happy if it ends up in a paper, a proper resolvement. There's nothing to resolve. You have been a slandering, lying little weasel for months. There's nothing to resolve except for you to apologize for all the lies you have told, you silly fucking shit. Oh, anyway. He says this towards the end of the last but one video entitled Regarding Science Denying Idiot Gary. Says what? So he's quote mining again. In desperation. So this obviously isn't the end of the video. It's right in the beginning of the video. But so I'll just. The good news is it'll be a shorter video and there'll be less crap about responding to Stephen Bro's silly accusations and nonsense. So in this second video, Science 9 Idiot Gary. Okay, and it says. Oh, yeah, this was a video. Unfortunately, the first video I made where I played his video and responded to it tanked on my computer, so that was unfortunate. So this, I did watch it after I did talk about it after I'd already watched it. So, and clearly just pointed out how, yes, the experiment looks okay. I don't see any fundamental flaws in the experiment. The same thing I said about Lewin's experiment. But the results are unacceptable because they're silly. The results can't fit into any kind of rational physics. Lewin's video of 100 momentum in, 130 out, no extra energy used, doesn't work in physical reality. And either does your free energy video. And I've described why it's a free energy theory. You can't get around it. It forces free energy to be a reality. Dumbass. Ugh. So stupid. Alright, so this is a waste of time pretty much. That's surprising. I suspect in the case he'll say it still means he's right and the problem is springs whatever have a bias or something or other. So these are people who have watched like Richard Feynman talk about this actual fact. You know, that the truth is elusive, because you have to go through all this crap. And so, they're pretending that there aren't any problems. This is all so simple. When, no, it's always catch-22. There's always, the physics is a little bit complicated. There's more than one thing happening at a time, and you have to really watch a bunch. This isn't juggling one object. This isn't just doing this. It's a little more, doing physics is a little more than this. Okay? Because you do have magnetism, and then you have charge, and then you have gravity, and then you have light, photons. So, and you have to make them all fit into the same system. So it's more than just doing this. But you're too stupid to understand that. No, you're too much of a duplicitous hypocrite. If your side is ignoring the details, it's just fine. If their side ignores the details, no, you have to go to concentration camp. Oh, you're such a fucking hypocrite. So this is a response to Metamorph. So he commented somewhere, I guess, and deleted his comment. I don't know. Yes, Metamorph has an interesting comment theory as to why he has conceded. So again, just absolute bullshit. Alright, so I don't know what this video is. So we have another piece of crap video somewhere. Oh, how much fun will this be? No, it's the same fake pile of shit. So I guess there's a Metamorph comment on this video. Okay, well, we're not doing that right now. So this video is the one where this moron titles it Free Energy Claims Debunked. There was absolutely not a single argument related to free energy. He's just doing this moronic bowling pin thing. Ugh, pathetic. Okay, anyway. I'm just glad of any movement at all, trying not to be cynical. So again, how do you think there could be any movement? I've already detailed the fact that you assholes really can't understand that momentum and kinetic energy are not compatible theories. And that if you try to force them both to exist in the universe, you either have to destroy the momentum theory with the kinetic energy theory, if you accept it, or you have to destroy kinetic energy rationality if you accept momentum. There's no other alternative. So obviously one of them has to be right and one of them has to be wrong. And the point is if you keep the momentum theory and just ignore kinetic energy, everything works just fine. just as Newton proposed. And again, I'll state to you people, I've begged you and pleaded with you to point out what concept, what statement Newton made about the world that you know is wrong because he didn't understand kinetic energy. So what did Newton miss about what's going on in the universe? What critical, important detail did he not account for because he didn't understand kinetic energy? No, he lived completely without it, and he detailed the mechanical functions so well that even today, people say, you got to check with Newton. Got to ask Newton. What would Newton say? They're still saying that shit for brain because there wasn't any huge flaws in his mechanics. You stupid fuck. All right, which isn't like me at all. But now I'm giving Gary the benefit of the doubt. I don't need any. I don't want anything from you. Okay, you're a septic piece of fucking human garbage. All right, and I can't wait for you to get what you fucking deserve. Okay, you lying piece of shit. You despicable piece of shit. All right, Richie again. Yes, I was surprised to hear him say that on a superficial level, you successfully demonstrated what you were claiming. That's, again, he's got that in quotes. I'm not sure that's what I said, but okay. Yes, he wants more confirmation. Well, I clearly pointed out, until the experiment's redone, this doesn't mean much, right? Because the whole scientific thing is to redo it, right? So let's do it. Let's have somebody else do it and see what the results they get is. But that's still pretty huge coming from Draft, in my opinion. So again, this isn't any big surprise. Do I have to really just replay when I watch the Professor Lewin video? So right in my video, I'm playing the Professor Lewin video, and I point out how this is bizarre. He just made free energy. He just showed me a video where he's making free energy. That's what he just showed me. Did I say anything other than that? Besides, I don't have an explanation. How the fuck did he do that? I've asked you to explain it to me. Have you explained it to me? No. So what the fuck? How is it any different than my reaction to Steve's experiment? I said there has to be an explanation. Didn't I say that? And didn't I say in the Lewin video, I actually said, him putting those springs on those objects is a little suspicious, right? Because they were already kinetic. They were already elastic. And he made them super elastic. Yeah. Why did he do that? Maybe even not adding music this time as a goodwill gesture. This time? I mean, it's already over, JPG guy. Reaching a conclusion we can all accept from successful experiments. So again, they don't see any flaws here. They don't see any disconnect. JPG guy, you've been posting the questions I've asked to these people. The questions are paradoxes. Do you understand what a paradox is? I've pointed out, if Stephen Bro is right, then you have insane paradox in the universe. You have a free momentum theory. If the 1.4 thing happens, you have a free momentum theory. Oh, shit. Anyway. That you take the time to do these experiments is commendable. Thanks. Well, again, in the context of how they're being done and how badly they're being done and the lies that are going into the commentary around them, I find it a little disrespectful that you would say this to this hunk of scum, this fucking lying piece of scum. Okay? So if you want to commend lying sacks of scum, you might not be able to comment on my videos anymore. Okay, I may be mistaken, but I think he said if Stephen's experiments prove to be right, it creates a free energy paradox. Well, now you throw that in. Why didn't you say that to Steve? Hey, Steve, he's been pointing out how if you're right, there's a paradox. What's your answer to the paradox? But Steve doesn't understand what a paradox is, so he can't answer the question. Let's see if Pyrrho answers it. It's time for Gary to do the experiment instead of making demands, don't you think? So again, Too silly, right? We all should do the experiments. Technicians aren't for any good reason. There's no, doctors should do the x-rays, right? They shouldn't send you to a technician who knows what he's doing. No, no, no. The doctor should just say, I can plug this in and push some buttons on this machine. I can get a brain scan out of it. No worries. Oh, fuck. Anyway, all right. So he thinks that because he can't keep momentum separate from energy in his head. How do you keep two completely different answers to the same question? How much energy does it have? Well, it has 200 and 400. Because 200 equals 400. Yeah, that's why I can't keep it in my head. And that's the exact history. This is the lie, right? He's never read the history. He has no idea how this thing was invented or why it was invented. It was clearly invented to replace momentum, not to stand beside momentum. Like, momentum's a nice little theory and we'll just stand next to it. So momentum is a rabbit and we're a raccoon and everything is just fine, blah, 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 blah. No, that has nothing to do with the truth. And it has nothing to do with anything that can be defended as rational. The two theories are in direct conflict. The momentum arrows of the two theories are not compatible. Oh, God, you people are so stupid. So I should get this stupid idea that somehow two completely different answers to the same question is perfectly reasonable. So I'm in a spaceship heading for the moon, and I'm going to try to turn my ship and land on the moon. And I ask the computer, what's the right answer, computer? And the computer says, 200 and 400. Yeah, how long should I have my engine on? 200 and 400. How do I do that? How do I do 200 and 400? Oh, that's right. I can't do that. I have to pick one. Okay. I think he'd do them if he had the equipment. Well, duh. I mean, this is the JPG Richie guy saying this, which he says cost many hundreds of dollars. And again, yeah, of course I could force myself to have the space. If I have an air track delivered to me, yes, I'll use it, and enjoy using it, no doubt. He was sent a car, but no track. I wasn't sent any car, so that never happened. And the track is apparently very expensive. Oh, I think he's talking about Bro. That Bro was sent a car, but no track? I don't know. I don't know what they're talking about, but it doesn't have anything to do with me. Okay. He says the kinetic energy theory is not compatible with momentum theory. When you try to keep both of them in the universe, you end up with either a free momentum formula or a free kinetic energy formula. They both create a paradoxical circumstance where I can just keep generating more and more momentum or more and more kinetic energy. If we accept the 1.4, we create free momentum. If we accept the 2, we make free kinetic energy. Where is he wrong there in your view? Oh, there. So he asked the question again. I wonder if Pyrrho will answer the question. I don't see any Pyrrho responses. Anyway, Steven says, let's see. Yeah, I'm currently right this minute searching for the original video file without the music or other stuff. So why, again, what do we need to see it again for? We've already seen it. All right, I've already I've already been bludgeoned by your farting nonsense. I've already endured the stink and stench of your garbage commentary. What the fuck is there to reclaim here? Okay, anyway, it's difficult at the moment because everyone is ill here. So he's still doing his everyone is ill here thing. Yeah, because you all live in a sewer. Okay, that's why you're ill. But anyway. My worry, my vibrations, let's see, add to that, the problem usually is every single result is ridiculed, mocked by Gary. So again, they weren't mocked. It's as clear just pointing out, and you didn't pay any attention. I tried to point out to you that it doesn't matter, 10-pound bowling ball, 15, 20, 600-pound train. It doesn't matter what size these objects are. All that was necessary was for there to be an inverse mass to velocity ratio, and you mocked that. You mocked me just saying, this is what I'm saying, jackass. Not what you said. This is what I'm saying. And you just mock that. So you're the one playing the games over and over again. Okay, even before we fell out. So this is even more nonsense. So then it becomes a rod for one's own back, whatever this is. The harder I try, the more I am punished. So what is this punished part? Yeah, we obviously don't like each other. I think you're a person of insanely low character, a despicable, lying, backstabbing hunk of dirty, smelly garbage. Okay, so there's nothing to reclaim there. But what's the punishment, jackass? You really think I'm actually going to say something nice about you ever? Well, that's never going to happen, you stupid creep. God, what an amazing asshole. What, should we all send love letters to the prison, to the mass murderers? Oh, I'm so sorry you had a bad day and had to go slaughter people. Let's all be friends. Fuck you. What a goddamn lunatic. Yeah, forget it. None of it will be on the subject. If it's talking about troll on you physically or mentally, don't do them. Yeah, exactly. If you can't take the heat, get the fuck out of the kitchen. Or wait and do them at a later date. No pressure. Again, as I pointed, look, 4 years ago when I was engaging Steve, he was doing exactly the same thing. He was miserable, way overtired, drinking. There's my Pepto-Bismol bottle. Blah, 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 blah. I mean, all these issues. Same thing. Nothing's changed. This is how he lives. Okay. He says a lot of things because he doesn't understand high school math. So this is just, wow, there, you sure proved that. Okay, this is not an insult. It's a useless sack of lying shit that doesn't have any relevance to anything real. You have not demonstrated I don't understand high school math. As I've pointed out, my best grades in high school actually were in math. Retard. Okay. It is a statement of fact. So again, it's not a statement of fact. It's just your stupid lie. But anyway, when you have a problem involving two unknowns. So we've already done this problem of two unknowns. Let's take the momentum theory and let's take the kinetic energy theory and assume they're both correct somehow, even though they get exactly opposite answers. And we'll say that those two theories are both using velocity and mass. So therefore, what those two theories say about velocity and mass, we'll combine those two things as if they're real facts and come up with a third fact that'll tell us what velocity and mass is. But it can't possibly be the right answer because one of the formulas is overtly wrong because we already know they both can't be right answers. Oh, you're too stupid. You're the one who can't understand logic. All right, so I won't even bother. This bullshit where they play this game. You need two equations to arrive at a unique solution. And if your two assumptions are wrong, okay, platypuses have a bill. And then your second one is platypuses eat rocks. Those two things aren't right. One of them's a falsehood. You combine a falsehood with a truth, you don't get a super truth. You get a broken truth. Oh, too stupid. He's asking where the 1.4 kinetic area theory comes from. Do you know? Well, way to go. I mean, it's good, JPG. I'm grateful that you're there, that somebody is forcing them to try to stay on the subject. Excellent that somebody has the balls to do that. He says he can't find any information on it and that if it's true, it proves a lot of physics professors wrong. Yeah, so let's see if Bob will respond to that. Could you elaborate a bit more where the 1.4 kinetic energy theory comes from? ? He says he can't find any information on it. So he asked Steve the same question. Oh, Bob, it's Bob Stay answers. Okay, his response was predictable. He wants more confirmation. So he's not on that subject. He's not answering that question. All right. He wants more people to do his work for him. So where did I do any of that? We already have a guy who's already suggested he is willing to do these experiments. So this isn't an issue. There's already somebody right there, and it's a fundamental principle of physics that you repeat experiments. Isn't this a fundamental principle? Oh no, you're pretending it isn't. When it's to your advantage not to repeat an experiment, then you believe. So you believe in the Eddington experiment, even though, yeah, it sucks. But we believe because it's telling us what we want to hear. And that's all you care about because you're a religious puke. This just confirms what I wrote, that this is just about him wanting attention. So apparently that's what he wrote up there in the nonsense somewhere. But because he has stumbled upon something important, but just because he is bored. So these are just too silly as answers, right? I mean, the accusations are so easily proven inaccurate by the entire fact that I have done the entire process in public. The lineage from just a gravity theory 10 years ago to now. And this asshole thinks he can pigeonhole it into this nonsense? When clearly the whole point is the more I scratched at these theories of physics, the more the veneer just falls right off. And you see they don't have any evidence for this horse shit. All right. It will never end. No, it will end. And it will end with you on the ash heap of dumbass religious propagandist. Fucktard who wasted his life defending silly ideas. Fucking duplicitous hypocrite who knew he didn't have evidence and didn't care. You're a duplicitous hypocrite. You have no evidence and you don't care. You're still going to argue for your religion. It makes you a scumbag. That's the definition. That's what should be scumbag in the dictionary, and douchebag should be any asshole who proselytizes ideas that are under evidenced. It makes you a piece of suck. Yeah, that should also be the definition of a piece of suck. It's just Farley, but it doesn't matter. All right, so Stephen Bro is answering Richie regarding, I think he do them if he had the equipment. Oh, well, this part isn't interesting. Which he says cost many hundreds of dollars. Okay, so he says, Stephen says, I guess. I don't know. This is at Richie. He's quoting this and he says, an air track is so simple to make because it's essentially just a tube with holes in it. It's really not. It has to, the surfaces have to be well matched to each other. Any defect in the flatness of the metal and you fucked the game. So that's just horseshit, Steve. You're an idiot. I mean, why do you think they're just selling a piece of aluminum for whatever it is, $30 a piece, $89 a meter, or whatever it was? Why do you? It's because it has to be pretty well machined, idiot. Okay, I need to be rigid, well made, straight, with holes, correct size, number, and placement. But it would be a. So then he concedes. It would be a great project for any DIYer could complete in a day or two. So again, he's saying that most people can machine metal. I don't know. I've machined aluminum. Aluminum is a little sloppy too because aluminum melts too fast and it tears. So whenever you try to machine aluminum, it just can start tearing all over the place. It's very brittle. It's a pain in the ass. All right. All the fancy bits, photo detectors, timers, and all that stuff is viable SHR, buildable with a bit of research. So this is just all more talk about, again, why should I produce evidence when you haven't? Good question. And then the Arduino thing, yeah. And so why should I do all of that? I'm just saying, why should I try to make, okay, let's see, I can make my tablet do it if I put the tablet timing thing in this, and that. Why should I go to all this trouble? Why should I do an amateur experiment? Why? Why does that make sense to you people? When shouldn't it be done professionally so the results are reliable and dependable and everybody can believe in them? I mean, shouldn't we get the best possible, especially on something controversial, right? It's controversial. Don't you really think that controversial subjects should be resolved with very, very reliable testimony? If you're going to sentence a man to death, you want the witnesses to have credibility, don't you? You don't want a bunch of amateurs. I'm an amateur shit talker. I can make up any story about that there defendant. Is that what you want at your trial? A bunch of incredibles? Oh, you people are too stupid. All right, Richie, I'm not sure whether you have already seen my earlier reply a few minutes ago where I explained the 1.4 thing from an electrician's perspective. Oh, well, that's fine. So how does that is applicable at all? So I guess I have to find that somewhere. I don't know where his explanation of the electricity is. So this is all cost stuff. So it wasn't in this comment. Too bad. All right. Electronics is the only thing I am properly qualified in, and may be a bit rusty on my specifics even then, because I'm qualified between 1974 and 1978. Yeah, so he's a he's an older electrician, like, when the wires were rolled in tape. Anyway, I have to pass a series of exams unless you all want to do this house bashing, rewires, whatever. What are you talking about? Plasterers can do that well in a fashion. Yeah, I think he actually had work done in his house and he didn't do it. Anyway, no point in repeating that. I'm no position to defend the... Okay, so here it is. Thing is, I'm in no position to defend the 1.4 thing, except I'll call it an established well of evidence theory that everybody knows and everybody should already accept. You really are just insane, aren't you? Thing as it applies to kinetic energy. I'm just not qualified to comment, except you made the comments. You wrote them right over your video screen. Gary, science denier. Gary denying the 1.4 theory. And you can't defend it? So I denied a theory you can't defend? Do you understand how ludicrous your lies are then? You put those lies right on the screen, those big lies right there on the screen. Gary denying the big giant 1.4 theory that's been proven by everybody. He's a science denier. You did that, shithead. And then you weasel out when somebody asked you, well, can you explain why Gary should have believed the theory? Why should Gary have believed in 1.4 when he never heard of it in his whole fucking life until 2 weeks ago? So until 2 weeks ago, I didn't know what the 1.4 theory was. I never even heard of it. And you say, I knew all the time it was the truth. He knew all the time it was the truth. These are your lies, fuckhead. It was news to me, so I tested it. Yeah, and unfortunately, you tested it badly and sloppily and recklessly, as you always do. If someone tells me brown eggs break far less easy, I will disagree. After several months of arguing about it, I'm going to buy some eggs. I don't know, he's probably done this. I just don't understand why the next question would be, when did you first learn about eggs? You're the one who established that this is a known fact, that the physicists all believe this, and I'm science denying by rejecting the 1.4 theory. That's overtly in the title of your video, you fucking idiot. Anyway, the questions start to feel like I'm in the dock. I don't know what that means. Okay, so Bob Stay never answered the question, so here's talking some more shit. By the way, I tend to delete my post after a while when I feel sorry for the guy and don't want to be ganging up on him. So again, yeah, this is Farley's tactic. I suppose what he does, being bored and fishing for intention on the internet. So he didn't answer the question anywhere, so no point. Perhaps he can unify the Middle East. Well, I could do better than they're doing currently, I bet. I bet I could write a better contract. Okay, because a lot of the Middle East is dependent on UN food, frankly. And the Middle East can be told, hey, you want food? Shape up. All right, anyway. Well, when you put it like that, and I'm willing to accept that you are probably right. So this is Stephen Bro saying to Bob, I'm thinking I might as well go back to bed. Yeah, you might as well fall asleep in the bathtub for all I care. I'm getting reeled in by some never-ending list of more information needed. Yeah, I think you're right. I want to call it a day soon anyhow. Yeah, see, yeah, I see your point. Even I have moments too. I don't even know what all this Bob Stay stuff is. But anyway, last reply for the moment. I just started watching Gary's latest video, 4th in one day. Yeah, you posted 4 in one day. And although the video he is supposedly responding to is about his pointless claim that the lever is bending a bit, right, which was a complete waste of everybody's time because I didn't make a big deal out of it, despite me having already pointed this out. So he's just doing the same shit again. He's just redoing the pointless argument for which there's no need for an argument. I clearly wasn't listening to your video. That's clear. I'm playing the video and showing everybody. I have it sped up. You have music playing. I couldn't give a shit what you're saying. I'm looking for an experiment. That's clear. I couldn't care what you were saying. I don't care. And I just noticed, hey, his lever bent. Lever shouldn't bend. That's bad. That's bad. Okay? Lever bending. That's bad. Okay? That's what I said. And this fucktard again. I mean, I'm going to obsess about this subject because I'm crazy and I don't have any choice because I'm crazy. No, you're obsessed with being an asshole. Okay? You have asshole burgers. Okay, so that's enough of a video. Oh, we have so much to go through. All the other videos and all the stupid, idiotic, moronic comments. We proved it! We proved it! We proved the 144 thing! La 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 la! It's proven! Stephen proved it for us! We don't care, it creates paradoxes! Oh, God, I hate this planet. I just goddamn hate this planet. Whose video is this? Oh, it has a commercial on it. That's no good. Step-by-step science. When the fuck did I ever watch this piece of shit? Somebody must have linked me to it. Alright, anyway. Oh, God. I just really hate this planet. Alright, yeah, so I should just have to hit the button and get the fuck... What the fuck? It's auto-playing. Keep turning that shit off. Well, anyway. So, anyway, this has been a DraftPhysics.com video presentation. Just... you see, there's just no opportunity to do physics. Because that's not what people want to talk about. They don't want to stay on the subject. How do springs actually work? Are they interested? No. How does energy actually transfer from one object to another? You know, how does it actually do it? Like, how do the atoms do it? How do the electrons do it? How do they make the stuff that's here go into this thing over here? They really don't care about any of that crap. They just care about entanglement, superposition, and all the other bullshit that they're trying to protect. All the wooey baby talk that is physics. Ugh. So, this has been a Draft Physics video presentation. Thank you for your attention. I suppose. I appreciate that you care to listen to the argument, but you're really not doing anything. Yeah, you're not stopping them from being terrible liars. So until you can help stop them from being terrible liars, this job is going to just be very difficult. And such.